As new workloads like artificial intelligence and quantum computing start to emerge in hyperscale data centers, optics will transition from the faceplate to onboard and eventually to co-packaging. Brad Booth of the Consortium for Onboard Optics is closely involved in making this possible. Brad, thanks for talking to us here at ECOC. Tell us where we are with all this at the moment.
So where we are right now in the industry is making a major transition from what was a 100 gig ecosystem built off of 25 gig NRZ SerDes to transitioning to 50 gig PAM4 SerDes and eventually to 100 gig PAM4 SerDes, which drives higher bandwidth optics capability. So now we're looking at 400 gig optics and beyond. Where do we go after this?
And at COBO, you're right at the heart of it. In your feeling of this, how are we progressing? Are we progressing fast enough? Are you confident? How's it looking?
I think it's actually doing really well. Things in the industry take time to get adopted and get accepted, especially when you bring brand new concepts. What's interesting to me is as we've sat down and talked with various companies about the transitions that COBO allows them to make, little light bulbs go off in people's heads, right? One of the things that we did with faceplate optics is, we kind of got into we'll do that again, we'll just churn, spin and churn, spin and churn. There wasn't really a lot of creativity. We kept everything thinking two-dimensionally, just try to figure out how to cool by pulling enough air through. We weren't really getting creative and inventive on how to be more power efficient, on enabling new connectors. One of the biggest problems in data centers is actually the optical connectivity portion. It's the thing that takes the most time. It's usually what results in a large number of failures because you get pollutants or impurities in that connection. You have to clean it, and that's all time. And you don't really realize it when you're operating at, say, an enterprise class data center, but once you start operating at hyperscale, and then you start looking at architectures like artificial intelligence and the ability to try to connect everything, you realize, oh, this is a lot more optics than I've been using today. These copper cables don't go very far with 100 gig PAM4 electrical, and suddenly I'm surrendering tons of power to drive an optical module that I could put right next to it, or potentially in the future on top of it, and save significant amount of power. And I think that's the aspect, that's the light bulb that's going off in people's heads. And we've been seeing that with a number of companies that have been working in our realm that have been looking at it going, yeah, I need to start evaluating this. I need to start rethinking about how I'm doing my designs. And COBO enables them to think outside of that box in a sense.
Yeah, so COBO must be almost like right place, right time. You must be getting a lot of interest now in joining the organization.
We have, and actually we've had we just finished another specification recently, which is our host compliance board, module compliance board specification, which is nice so people in the industry can build the compliance boards, and we've actually have compliance boards in our booth. And we have our switch in our booth, which is actually running traffic for the first time, which is nice. That's, we've got modules in there, both COBO modules, OSFP modules, and QSFP-DD modules. And what was nice is it brought a proof point home that we've been saying, right? We've been saying COBO would offer better power, better cost, and it is, because the company that built all three of those modules is saying, the module that they have in OSFP and QSFP-DD are 10 watts. The COBO module is 7 watts. So they've already saved 30% power. And the other aspect, their point is the other ones, the reason why they're higher power is they have a DSP in them, whereas the COBO module only has a clock and data recovery unit. So that drops the cost on it too. So, it's a win-win for looking at that, and that's, I think, critical as we look forward to the future and how we become more power efficient and stop getting into this habit of wasting power.
Okay, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thanks.